Here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another, hopefully final, untitled Gaarawarr stream. No fancy intros today. The important thing for this week is that we get everybody to vote. We are going to be doing a vote here at some point in the chat. C&E is going to run it. I have nothing to do with it. Don't get mad at me. And we are going to vote off 3 choices for the future name of my stream. There's been a post up on Reddit too, so some people may have voted there, but it's okay. You can vote again here. We did a vote on my stream earlier this week on Tuesday, so I have tallied lots of votes, and we will announce probably after the stream, once I get a total tallied up, what the actual name will be. So that's exciting, right? The code's wrong. No, the code is right. My code is right. The other code was wrong earlier, I think. They were still using the code from Griddle Champions this morning, which was very delicious. Very delicious. It actually... Ooh. Now that I notice it, I have not reset to get my... Let's change cameras. I have not reset to get my bonuses on either account. Weekend buffs all. This is your chance to reset. And we get super quiet because the audio was on that version. I really just need to get the audio track. Boom. Yes, so the code for today's stream is Rox Nook Paid, which is an odd code for an Idle Champions stream since it's so very, very related to Animal Crossing New Horizons. Nook, get off my stream. I don't care if you want to get paid. Go away. Go away. Yes, it's an invisible weekend buff. That's what it is. Let's see if it's up now. Is it up now? Nope, it's loading. There it is. And now we'll reset the Gearless account. It's a May Day weekend. So let's take a look. We have Ayla, Calliope, Jamila, Cathris, and Wolfgar. Not bad. Not bad. If you use them, you're going to get a nice little bonus this weekend. It's usually just 200% to everything except whatever the DPS is, which is Jamila. So 400%. I can't tell what Wolfgar's just going in and out because of the arrow. Because of the arrow. Encouraging voter fraud within the first few seconds is a nice start. Well, it's not fraud if you're allowed to vote multiple times. There's no rules against that. As you can see, I'm kind of just sitting here with 4 champions. This is not an event. This is Cramped Quarters Strahd Edition. Only dwarves, gnomes, kobolds, and halflings can be used, and that's 4 people for Strahd. Tried it. Didn't quite get there. I'm about 40 levels away. 40 levels away. And the only reason I can't get past this is this next boss one-shots everyone on my team. And that's a little rough. Yeah, I can't blow him up instantly, so every attack just one-shots people, so I don't know. I guess we're just gonna wait on that one. To some future date. Oh well. The tie-dye chest. Yes. It is interesting. They always do unique chests for that stuff. Today's stream titled Gar's Restarted Rascally Router. Yes, we were having issues earlier. But that's okay. Everything is well. Now, I've already finished everything on my main account for this event. I think... Do I have enough? I do have just enough. Ooh, timed that right. Just enough time to start a free play. So if you want to see, we'll just, I'm going to throw in, this is how I get to 51. Hey, come on. Just to run a quick free play in the background while we set some stuff up on the other account. We'll be doing one of the variants today over there. Just to see what it's like. And of course, answering anyone's questions. So don't be afraid to post questions in the chat and vote whenever the vote actually happens. Again, I'm not really in control of that. They will throw that on at some point today. What else? Oh, and Hapilar. Need Happy. Oh, and I guess we could throw Minsk. Sometimes I use Minsk, sometimes I don't. That's it. That's my speed. My speed run. Need to use the Bud Advance trick. That's I don't know that you're really getting the problem there. I only have those 4 champions. It's not like I lost some at some point. Those were the only 4 champions that gives me. So the Bud I was getting is the Bud I was getting, period. So without lots stacking tons of potions, it wasn't going to get any higher. And I can't kill him. I mean, I was past soft cap, so it's not like I was going to kill him in 4 ultimates. Or in the time it took him to kill me 4 times, basically. So, Gar, could you please explain why you went back to Zone 1 before changing your champions in the formation? I didn't. I just started a new run. This is a free-play Cridle run, and what I was on a minute ago was a Strahd variant. Unless I'm missing something. Ended up doing it without Rosie and just clicking my way through. Got walled on the very last level using Fire Breath. Yeah, I mean, if you have enough favor, you can click through anything. But I try not to get outrageous amounts of favor. I mean, I have a lot. I'm in the 30s or almost 30 for most things. But I don't really want to complete it just with clicking. I'd rather find a way to complete it with the champions. I didn't mean today. So on previous streams, if I'm changing my formation at a wall, it is much easier for me to just go back to level 1 with familiars out on the field and mess around with the formation, because then the enemies don't then run into my tank champions while I'm in the middle of changing things around, which can be problematic, especially if I'm trying to change tanks around. So on level 1, I can instant kill everything, and I have the freedom to make whatever adjustments I want, and then I just turn auto progress back on, and it jumps back up to where my wall was. What exactly does the last Tier 3 Tiamat Blessing include? Patron variants over all campaigns. Means that there are Avernus adventures in other campaigns as well. Okay, so one of the, first off, I will get to that. First off, I still don't understand why they add more than just 1 tier of Blessing when they released Avernus. We did not need 3 tiers to get through that content. However, if we do scroll all the way down to Tier 3, we look at Veterans of Avernus. I'm assuming this is what we're talking about. Increases the damage of all champions by 10% for every Avernus adventure and variant completed over all campaigns. The wording here is wrong. Yeah. It should say increases the damage of all champions by 10% over all campaigns for every Avernus adventure and variant completed. Then it would make a lot more sense, right? Because what they're just talking about is all of the adventures in Avernus that you complete. It includes the variants, and it also includes patron variants. So right now we have, 3 on the first one, 6, 8, 10. What do we got? And 12, 14, plus 1, 2, or 2, 4, excuse me, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So, yeah, you just add all those up, and that's the bonus you're getting. 10% times all of that. So what is it, like 30? So 300% now, roughly? It's not a lot because the campaign just started, which is why I don't think that even should have been included at this point. It would have made a lot more sense to just unlock the other tiers over time, but whatever. I'm not the developer. But yeah, so it's just about, when it says Avernus Adventures, it's just the adventures and variants in the Avernus campaign. It does include the variants. It does include patron variants. So, oh, and actually it's more than that because it's not 2. I multiplied by 2, but it's 3. patrons now. So yeah, it's 400 and something now. So there you go. Yeah, it's not a huge, overwhelming, earth-shaking increase right now because there just aren't a lot of things there. As a new player, would you focus on getting the evergreens available in the Grand Tour first, or jump to Tomb ASAP and get Kellamur's Favors and Blessings? So basically what I usually recommend is always grabbing the Tier 1 out of every campaign. It may be hard to do initially to grab the Tier 1 here in the Avernus campaign. Grab the other 3, and then working up to and unlocking Dritz is a good milestone in Sword Coast to kind of know, okay, I have the ability now, like the power just in my champions to push through in Tomb of Annihilation and unlock the stuff there. So once you get Dritz, who is the only champion in Sword Coast, Evergreen, then just hop over to Tomb of Annihilation and pick up Azaka. Once you have Azaka, the whole world opens up for you, basically. Sit back up, grab some water. Stay hydrated, folks. All right. We're actually, one thing we'll do here in a minute is I actually am in Tomb of Annihilation on my Gearless account, and we'll go look at that in a moment. And when we set up our run over there for the event. Do the patron shop offers change every week too? No, it's always the same thing. The only things that change from the patrons every week are the challenges. So you get new challenges every week. Well, I shouldn't say new. They rotate the list every week. They recycle them. Gaarawarr, do you have Rosie's +1 int feat? If so, she can protect your group from that magic attack, right? I don't think I do. I do not think I prioritized that at all. Where is she? Oh, she's down here. Let's see. Maybe I do. Nope. No. I have not gotten that yet. So it's only available in gold chests, and I have not gotten it. I got pretty lucky last week on stream with my gold chests, but not that lucky. Do you get event tokens on a time gate? Yeah. Event tokens accrue over time, period. It doesn't matter what campaign or adventure you're in, whether it's an event or a time gate or the regular campaigns. You're just going to get event tokens regularly while an event's active. I heard the term a few times but didn't find anything. What are evergreens? Crocus Maximus, evergreens are... well, there's some debate. For me, an evergreen is a champion that is available year-round for you to unlock. So not something that you don't have to get in a time gate or that you don't have to get in an event. So that would be Hitch, who you get from the newsletter, Dritz, who you get in the Sword Coast campaign, Azaka in Tomb of Annihilation, and Dragonbait in Tomb of Annihilation. Supposedly, we'll be getting a 5th evergreen in the future. That is hopefully Alcoria Stone Marrow. That would be from the Waterdeep Dragon Heist campaign. We'll find out more about that this coming Wednesday. So next week, five days. When we get Waterdeep Dragon Heist, I think it's part 8. Is that what it is? That's the big content drop next week. So make sure you're reading the text next week, because there's information. Some people also like to include the core 12 champions as an evergreen, but I don't. I consider them the core 12 champions. So the 12 you start with, you know. But yeah. Are you able to get Dragonbait before Zaka? If you want to, sure, Duros. I would rate Azaka higher than Dragonbait on the to get list. So, why is Dritz important to get? How does he increase your power for heading to Tomb? I said it's an important milestone, so it lets you know that your team has enough power to unlock to complete a challenging variant like that, where you're down a person. Spoiler: you're down a person in that. It's not necessarily that he's going to help you going into Tomb. It's just kind of a power check. So, yeah. Is Briv able to skip the last level of variants? Mavor, technically yes, and that's why I consider him a broken champion on my tier list for speed, because he basically just avoids game mechanics, if you're lucky, or if you set it up right. What's your Cradle gear look like? Or hey, good question, Owen. Let's actually go take a look at that. I actually got another green today, so I'm missing 2 greens. That's kind of why I just did this run. I'm sitting on 17 gold chests for Cridle specifically, plus 2 patron chests, which would give him gear. Oh, and I also have a spurt chest. Hey, that was from the Griddle Champions code. I might as well open that up. Boom. Small bounty contracts. That's all I really cared about. We will pop that open. I'm going to complete this run so we can get that chest. What does the game determine it as? There is a mission that only allows evergreens. There are certain missions that will only allow like your first 9 champions. Sometimes it's evergreens only, and they consider that, the game considers that core plus 4, I guess you can say. But there is a reference in the game that specifically refers to those first 12 as the core 12, so I just like to stick to that. Do we want to do... We could attempt a harder... No, here's an example. Veterans Brigade. Only evergreen champions can be used. So in this terminology, the game considers those core 12 plus the 4 that you unlock as evergreen, because, you know, you just have them all year round, right? These are all crazy. I'm not ready to do any of those yet. What's in Barovia? We're not doing that one. I know what that is. I mean, that one's kind of straightforward. That's like the one I just did. We could do Relentless Misfortune, see what happens. But really, I just want to go somewhere and attempt to open my chests, see what we get. But we'll set this up. So with Strahd, you are restricted, obviously, on who you can have. You need to get these people out right away, because these are all hit-based undead. So the more the merrier. The more champions I have out, the quicker they die. Boom. So let's just get a lot of people out here. I have some Melf for speed as well. So only speedsters allowed here really are Melf and Shandy. So I'm kind of going to lean towards that. I'm actually going to pull out Caddy Bree and put in Hitch. We're going to, despite what the developers will tell you, Hitch still is a DPS, so we are going to use him as such. He doesn't have the title, but he still throws out the damage. So let us see. We're going to want something along these lines. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to move Gromma to the front as the tank. I'm going to move Melf into the middle, and we'll put Tyrell in the back. And that'll be how that rolls. What did we get? We got a silver Cridle chest. So do not do this like me. I save everything up. I open it later at the end of the event, mainly because of my collection compulsion. So don't worry too much about that. Let us hop over to the gear list now that we have opened that up. As you can see, we are smacking a Sararak in the face a lot. Ooh, we are well past needing click damage, and I just need to upgrade to whatever will get me damage to clear this. Pop some ults, make all the things happen, get through that to the Soulmonger in the back. There we go. Alright, so that should basically be that. We will let this AFK with some... Oh, I'll move my familiars over here, and I'll answer some more questions. Oh, Dritz can help with gold find before you get Exaka. I mean, a little bit, but... I mean, if you're... Yeah. A little bit. Is there any way to check your item levels without using a blacksmithing contract? Outside of a blacksmithing contract, you can try to open a time gate. That's really the only other way. Like if I pull this up, see, it'll show item level. Obviously, this account doesn't have any gear on it, but it will show you what their item level is if you already own them, which is how you know I own these two, but not Korth. That's the only other way to do it. Currently, you have to have some kind of an item to give you a look at that. Is there anything I should do to maximize offline favor gain? Bard Medicine. I mean, I don't necessarily set my account up for favor gain offline. I set it up for pushing offline, and that gets me favor because I push really far. So I would just set up to like a real wall pusher formation and then set it offline. I usually like to, if you have familiars, set them on, on things that are going to help you push further. So like on my main account, I will set up switch everything to upgrade when I go offline, and then I'll have a familiar on everything and a couple roaming. And I will come back and, well, I did that last night. I came back and I was like on 512 or something like that. And I turned it off in the teens. So, depending on how strong your formation is, you can just push, and, hopefully you get some favor along with that. It really depends on what your wall is. Yeah, if the game says Evergreen Champions allowed, then Core Champs are included in that, yeah, basically. But if it says Core 12 or First 9 or something like that, yeah, super limited. Since you started almost at day 1, a variant says original 9 champs. Did they start with 9, then go to 12? No. When the variant says you can use the original 9 champs, it just means you can use the original champion in the first 9 slots. So up here through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you would get through here. That's what they're referring to. There were 12. Maybe there were 12 and Hitch. I honestly can't remember when Hitch dropped. I don't know if he was available at launch or not. Do you get event tokens in between adventures? What if you're at a boss and only one monster is left, you don't kill him because you're away? Do you get more tokens once you start killing again? Yeah, Christ 3737. Basically, the game is supposed to catch you up on whatever you would have missed based off 1 token per 25 seconds once you start killing enemies again. That's what's supposed to happen. If you're not seeing that, definitely let them know. But yeah, you're not supposed to lose any tickets. You're just supposed to get them, and I'll catch up. Good afternoon, Damon Black. Hitch doesn't DPS as well as Delina? Oh, Toko Shorin. Oh. Ooh, that was like a brain fees right there. Just from reading that question. Finally unlocking Driss last boss right now. Yay. Good job, Trench Rat. When you play him DPS, do you get his Charisma's buff or his dagger buff? Crippled, I put Hitch in his more dagger spec now all the time. I don't use Charisma at all. I don't use the Charisma buff at all. It's a bit more of a varying damage buff that you get, but it has a higher potential that I've seen so far. Everything, when I sat down and tried to do the math on it, it felt like it had a much higher potential damage buff. So I'm like, I'm all for the RNG. I mean, that's what we get with Krull, that's what we get with Averin, that's, part of what makes them strong, so I may as well go all in on it. Hey, click those things. Question, if the game says plus XX% damage from blessings or perks, does that mean from base or from actual damage? I would need more of a specific example. So if you can put that in chat, Gleaser, I'll get to it eventually. Champions who target multiple enemies seem to have the extra targets unlisted in general, like Ashar's DPS is 3 times or more than when it's listed. I don't know that that's always the case. It depends on how they distribute their damage. Like if her DPS says it's like E100 and each of her fireballs, or whatever that she's sending out are E100, then, or whatever her attack is. It's been a while since I used her as DPS. I don't know. It depends on how they're calculating damage. One of the problems, like with Delena, for instance, is that she does AoE damage, so she's doing tons of damage per second, but Bud is calculated off a single hit against a single enemy, as you see. So, you know, it doesn't really matter that Ashara is doing that damage 3 times because the Bud's only going to get set by 1. That's one of the reasons those kind of multi-attack and AoE champs aren't always the greatest for setting Bud, and why some of them don't get used as much as others. Because they can wave clear real good, but their Bud is just kind of okay. Thanks for recommending your Zaka Farm guidance from previous stream. It helped me get from E23 to E27 Tiamat favor in a single run. Yeah, it'll do that. EO4 is not uncommon. You know, you'll bounce on a good Azaka run. You can go anywhere from EO2 to like EO7 gain, depending on, you know, what you started on and what kind of bonuses you're walking into that run with. Is the reason dwarves hate pancakes because maple syrup in a beard is a nightmare? I don't know that dwarves hate pancakes. So, I don't know. I think that might just be on a per dwarf basis. I have all the familiars. What do I do with the extra? Right now, not a whole lot. But when multi-adventure mode comes out, Feybinder, just like champions, familiars will be placed in one adventure and not able to be used in another, so you'll have a need for more familiars then. Muting for a second. Cough. Hello, Gaarawarr. Where to use Black Mist contracts for the first time? Is it better to focus on a support or a DPS character? Same SD day. Generally, the rule of thumb is make sure you're using it on an event champion and not one of those core evergreen champions. The reasoning for that is core and evergreen champions get constant item levels from all the duplicate items you get when you're opening silver and gold chests. So you don't really need to add extra from blacksmithing. So find an event champion you like, level it up. Don't go all in on one champion. The math says that's bad, and just the feel says that's bad. Spread it around among the champions that you're using and give them all a nice buff. So just look at what you're using currently in your formations that are kind of the core characters. You know, and you can still focus them on, if you don't have a lot, you can focus only on 2 or 3, but spreading it out a little bit is going to be better for you mathematically. So just because of the way math works, multiplying. Catching up on chat. Better support Caddy Bree or Spurt? I favor Caddy Bree. It's going to come down to items between 2 event champions, and also are you running a Companions of the Hall formation or not? You know, Spurt has some fantastic usages. He actually gets stronger the higher you get the more item levels you get on his slot 6 item. So he can become real strong because the longer he's dead, the bigger his buff is. Alright. Like all tier 1 global blessings, double damage, do they do 100% base damage at a time, or is it doubled each time, which is 16x in the effect? They should all be individual buffs, so added separately. So each one is times 2. So you get 4 times 2s. You start off at 100%, then you're at 200%, and then 4, and then 8, and then 16. So yes, 16x in the end should be how it works. You can reset them all and test that to your heart's content. But that should be how they read. Gaarawarr, have you seen any content about Iron Vulture? Looks like an interesting variation on this side. I have not. Yeah. My time is basically taken up lately with this game and, you know, trying to make sure 2 different streams run and then making guides for this game. That's most of my time. I'm on the lookout for Baldur's Gate 3. I will make time to play that, but most other games right now haven't made the time for it. Gar looks like a garden gnome. I am not dressed like a garden gnome at all, and I do not have a hat on, so take that back. Is it possible to eventually get the % reward from Golden Ethics by leveling your gear and getting a shiny on them? I mean, Sure. So Jellicle, because of the way... Oh, I'm on the wrong account for this. Let me switch back. Boom. So basically, hey, vote for the new title for Gaarawarr. Is the vote up, people? Is it up? I can't see it. I popped out stream chat. Hopefully the vote is coming up. The vote should show up once they start a poll. It should be a poll, and it should show up at the top of the chat box to get to vote. Should. I say should. That's how it worked on my stream. Yes, there we go. So right at the top, pick your favorite name for Gaarawarr stream. Do the little down arrow. You can choose between experience points, Gaarawarr's experience points, Gaarawarr's Zone of Truth, or Gaarawarr's Guide to Everything in Idle Champions, which we have shortened to GG2E. That is our nice little shortening. So I started off favoring experience points. Some of the vote has favored Zone of Truth. When I asked Dylan on stream yesterday during the dev stream, he favored Gaarawarr's Guide to Everything. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. It should be a lot of fun. What am I going to vote for? I get to vote. There, I have placed my vote. All right, I just got to remember how much time do we have? It doesn't say. Okay, it's slowly ticking down. All right. I got to remember to screenshot that when it's done so I can add those totals to the totals we got from my vote earlier this week and the vote on Reddit earlier this week. So, all right, so regular items versus shiny versus golden epic. So I'll have to do it this way. So the shiny and golden affect your item slot, and your rarity affects your item slot. And basically you start, if you were to, like, if the first item you were to get was an epic, it would be epic level 1, item level 1. Now, that would automatically multiply the buff by the 230%, so you would have a 230% buff. Every item level you get after that increases that buff. When you get shiny, it adds 50. It multiplies that total by 50%. So whatever it would be plus 50%, gold just doubles it. So as you can see here, it starts off at 230% at level 1. A golden basically just doubles it. So you can technically just get lots of item levels on a regular item or a shiny item and have it eventually add up to the amount that a golden epic would give you. This is why shinies and golden epics aren't necessarily required to have. They are just bonuses. And then if you ever got a GE on top of that, it would then just buff it even more. It's all a matter of math. But you can get there. You can get those bonuses completely free to play. As a new player with about 50 million favor and just basic champs, plus the running plus Briv, is Nihilate or Spurt better for buffing the group? If you have Briv, you're probably running him as your tank. As long as you're in a single tank formation, then you might as well throw Spurt out. Nihilate isn't going to give you anything unless she's in the tanking spot. And Briv's going to probably be a little sturdier of a tank. But in multi-tanks, then you just use both. So, yeah. Jamman J. Oh, hi, Gar. I finally bought my 6 familiar with gems. Now I don't have to go insane clicking 150 distractions while doing variant challenges. Yes, that is always nice. That is always nice. Crocus Maximus. Do they intentionally make some of the weekly challenges difficult to do at once, or are the champs chosen random? This week's Vajra wants you to do levels with Shandy, Delana, and Neris, but there is also one for levels with no healer. I think it's just random. I think that I don't know for sure. I think they just have lists of things, like for each of those slots, here's what it could possibly be, and then it just rotates through. I mean, that's how I would set it up, just so I don't have to go in and manually select things every week. And then you choose if you want to do it or not. So, blame Sean because vote doesn't work. I mean, I've seen vote working. It's working very well in chat. Thank you all. We have a lot more votes here. I have to say, this is fantastic. We have a lot more votes here than we had in my stream or on Reddit. So if you saw the totals on Reddit and you think something's leaning one way or the other, anything goes today. Just make sure to get your vote in. If we end up with like 2 things close, we might have to have some kind of a runoff. I don't know. Or I'll just pick between the last two. That actually sounds good. Does this sub for 4 month thing cost money or is it free? I am new and old. I don't know what you're referring to. Is that like Twitch? That sounds like a Twitch thing. I don't know. You're gonna have to clarify for me for a bit there. Where's the polls? Arena Claw, top of the chat box. Should be. If you're in a browser. I don't know if it should work. I would hope it would work in the app. But yeah. To quote Gar, we need more pirate skins, especially for Jarlaxle. Well, yes, Jarlaxle does need a pirate captain skin. He has a ship in Waterdeep Dragon Heist. He needs a pirate skin. Raven's voice. Do you see a vote possibility? It doesn't show for you. You have to click the little down arrow at the right for them all to show up, and then you choose one and then click the little vote button. It's kind of how it works. Do I get a sticker that says I voted? I wish. That would be awesome. All right, what were we doing? We were supposed to be setting up on the other account. I finished. This was Tomb of the Time God. Oh, no, I needed to get to 250. Yeah. I thought this would go quicker. We were going to set up one of the event variants. But I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up. I'm so close. So I'm trying to see. This is my Gearless account. I'm trying to see if I will be able to unlock Azaka. Maybe even next week. That'd be nice. Mars did it first. The Gearless Azaka run. And arguably, there's a lot more power in the game since then. So I should be able to pull it off. Santa, is that you? Kirby in December. I do wear a Santa hat, but like not out and have like people sit on my lap. I don't want little kids peeing in my lap. Nobody wants that. Is there an easy way to check all subscriptions at the same time? Yeah, you're asking a lot of Twitch questions. I think if you go to your personal Twitch page, there should be a subscription tab. It'd be there. Oh, one thing that we did that I will point out on the Tuesday stream this week over at twitch.tv/Gaarawarr, we actually got to 1,000 followers. Big deal. Milestones. So do be sure to show up on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. What day is Tuesday? Hold on. Let's see if I can screw up the closed captioning by covering this up. The 5th. May the 5th. So on Cinco de Mayo, come by. We will not be doing a Cinco de Mayo stream, but we should have some interesting stuff on Tuesday. Maybe a little change to the stream and maybe even a reward. Who knows? Who knows? You'll want to be there. Do you need to do something to see the poll? I don't think so. Yeah, I can't help you with the poll questions. I mean, it popped up for me, and I even have the chat popped out. So if you're watching in a browser, that tends to help. Under what circumstances is it better to take each of Caddy's specializations? Cesar, I tend to always do in the zone. When Caddy Bree gets a critical hit, her attack cooldown is reduced by 1.5 seconds for 10 seconds. I tend to always do this. Although on Gearless, I should probably consider doing her other one. Which basically, well, okay, so her other spec, I don't even remember the name of it because I don't really pay attention to it. Her other spec is really just made for if she's DPS because it increases the amount of damage done on subsequent hits, if I'm remembering correctly. Whereas in the zone is more of a, like it does increase her attack cooldown and it's great when she has gear and she's critting a lot. I use that as my DPS option, but if you don't have a high crit chance, it's not going to go off that much and you're probably better off running the left spec. That's probably how it works. So once you get decent gear on her, I just, a long time ago, I just always started going right spec because I wanted that crit, I wanted that faster attack, even as a support. I want her attacking more often because the more often she attacks, the more often she applies Mark for Death. And that's the support debuff, so... First event, both Kenny and Spurt have one epic and the rest rare gear. Should I run a Krydle free play now? Yeah, probably. 4-packs, 21. I mean, I haven't used him a lot yet because it's hard for me in my gearless account to swap him out for Celeste in event runs because I need that healing. And then Regis has just been, I use him as a debuffer and a buffer to work with Zorbu, so I haven't just really run a Krydle formation. But at some point, ooh, the poll ended. Nice, nice, nice. Screenshotting. At some point, ooh, hey, oh, I guess we can just show that right there. Look, everybody. So this is the totals from today's stream. I will tally these with the totals from Tuesday's stream and Reddit, and we will come up with an overall total. It does look like Gaarawarr's Guide to Everything came in strong on this late poll. But we did get a lot of votes for Zone of Truth in earlier ones, so we will see. We will see how things end up. I think it's going to be a pretty close race. But yes, so 4-packs. I would say you still want to try to get some decent gear on Krydle. I wouldn't necessarily try to get all your gear on Krydle. I think Caddy and Spurt are both stronger. Caddy both as DPS and support, and Spurt is a great support, so... Yeah, if the voting glitched out, no, you can hop over. I will probably take... I did say I closed the voting on the Reddit post, but if the voting glitched out for you here, you can always get a late vote in over on the Reddit post. Maybe I'll count it. Maybe I won't. We'll see. Experience points is cute, not as good as Gaarawarr's guaranteed warranted strategy stream, though. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot to say. Is Briv a better tank than Tyrell as a bear? I am epinephrine. That depends on you and your progress in the game. Briv is a better tank right out the gate. He's got really solid damage reduction, both built in, like as actual damage reduction. I think it's like 10% or something. But then his healing is effectively like damage reduction because it's just on a delay. As long as he stays alive for 10 hits or 10 seconds, you're getting that health back, a good chunk of that health back. Tyrell, as a tank, relies on his ultimate to be super, super duper tanky. And that relies on it being up all the time, which relies on you having maxed out his cooldown reduction item. So super, like, late game for veterans, people who have maxed that out because, you've been playing for a couple of years or just opened tons and tons of chests. Tyrell ends up being better than Briv, but if you're earlier on, Briv can be super tanky for you right out the box. Catching up on chat, looking for questions. What's the best resource for recommended formations, existing non-event campaigns? Probably the Discord in the hashtag formations channel. I mean, just going in there and looking through or asking is the best because things change all the time. Anything that's posted online, if it's not constantly getting updated with every new event and every new event champion and any updates that they make to the way the game plays, like version 1.0, the formations may not be accurate anymore. I plan to push for Dragon Bait after the event. What do I need to know? Any tricky bits? Yeah. Stuff you need to know. And yes, there are tricky bits. Moving on. No. Be careful how you phrase your questions, people. So if you're just doing bare bones Dragon Bait, just his variant and not a patron variant, the last soft cap upgrade should get you more than enough damage to kill Valindra. If the key is making sure you can soft cap before you get to the goal level with Valindra, and I can't remember off the top of my head what that level is. Now, the tricky bit on top of that is you don't just need damage, you need survivability. Valindra, as you do damage to Valindra, she starts dying and resurrecting, she's going to start doing more and more and more damage. So the key there is kind of to not be firing off your ults early. If you have Krull's going to be your I win button. You basically watch her resurrection number. There's a little like icon up here. You'll be able to hover over it, and you can watch her resurrections tick down. And when they get to like 3, fire off your Krull ult and then unleash every other ult that you have. That should burn off the last 3 resurrections. Now, surviving up until that point, you need at least 2 tanks, maybe 3 in their health share spec if their health is based off a spec. If their health share is based off a spec, you want that. Like Nayeli's is. Like you would want Devotion for her if you're using her. I prefer having Calliope in. I think she's huge. Use her in her College of Lore spec, because again, you should have more than enough damage. You just want to keep shields up regularly, and then have one healer. Briv's out now. So, if you use Briv instead of Calliope, that's an option, but I prefer Calliope, and then I like to have a healer, either Dinar or it's not on this account. I would go Dinar if you have Dinar. I was going to say somebody else, and now I can't remember who. Sasaspia, possibly. Yeah, you can run Sasaspia if, as long as you're using a Fire Breath potion to keep all the ads dead instantly, Sasaspia will throw out her max heals. So, as you need that combination of high health, shielding to prevent damage spikes, and then healing to top you back up again. Basically, it's tricky. It just gets worse with patrons. So, hi Gar, is there any benefit in saving silver chests similar to saving gold chests for when a new evergreen shows up? The real bunny beast. First off, don't save gold chests for... I'm rubbing my eye. Don't worry, I washed my hands before this. And besides, I'm the only one that's touched them. So, don't save gold chests until they announce a new evergreen's coming, and then only if you're full epic on all other core and evergreen. So there are qualifications for that, like saving gold chests. So if you meet those qualifications, sure. In terms of saving silver chests, I recommend, if you already have white and green gear, or at least green gear across all of your core and evergreen champs, then I save silver chests for when an event starts. Because there's no reason at that point to open them up in between. Because I already have gear on all those champions, and that's the big thing. And I'll still get all the item levels once the event starts. So basically, you save them for your event. You burn them on your first run to help you push deeper on that first run. What does the Twitch drops link in the game settings actually do? I've got it hooked up, but I don't see anything happening. When they actually do Twitch drops, which they've only done twice, and they have no announced plans to do again, then you can earn Twitch drops by watching a stream, and it dumps those items then into your game from your Twitch account. And then there's another setting if you're a streamer that's allowed to activate Twitch drops on your stream, but that's not something that people really have to worry about. Do you have any advice for beginners who are doing somewhat good? Also, do you have any formation tricks that beginners can use for the natural characters? Kirby 1-Up, all of my advice is on the Reddit wiki. Like, if you go to the Reddit, at the top left side, up here, there's a little thing that'll say, like, new, and then it'll say, like, wiki, and then something like join the Discord or something like that. Click the wiki button and go to the resources by Gaarawarr. Tons of stuff for new players. There's a bunch of 101 posts, which are basically new player introduction to systems, and then there's posts on every champion in the game. Yeah, there's a lot of information there. I can't really go into all that on stream because there's really a lot. I've been making those guides, or working on those guides, for 2.5 years, so there's a lot there. Just work your way through them. And there is a Formation 101 post that will explain how to build formations. I would rather explain how to build a formation than just to give you a formation that uses 12 characters, but I do give those formations in my event guide. So if you check out the current guide to the running, which I believe is pinned to the top of the subreddit right now, there is a new player formation in there, but mess with it at will. That's the whole point. Change things up. The Alias one, where can I find the best super noob guidance? The Reddit, the subreddit. Yeah. I mean, the best way to start the game is just to start playing, just to try it out. Even those of us who are veterans, I mean, we just started and then just kind of had to run with it. And then all that information, like I was just talking about, is there. But there's also resources there from... There are specifically new player guides that are linked in there, I think in the general resource list. Silisa has some guides that's usually targeted more at high-end players. Mars has a lot of visual guides that are targeted at everybody, so check them all out. And yes, join the official Discord. Lots of people in there answering questions all the time. Hagar got Brunor's feet from your chest. Awesome. That's great, Explosion. Now give him his feet back. He needs them to walk around on. Have you just not opened any chest on this account then? Steven, yes, that's correct. This is a gearless account. That just means no chests at all. Ever. And in fact, if we go over here to achievements, in progress, treasure chest opener, open 5 chests, 0 of 5. None at all. Although I am up to 284% bonus. Nice. So you can get, you can get stuff done and earn a bunch of, these are all the ones I've earned, just playing with the Gearless account. 400, broke 400 finally. I think I got up to, oh wait, hold on. Come on, game. I should have checked what I'm at. 441. I did that earlier today. That is my highest. And it was in Tomb of Annihilation, so I think I've got Sararak's number. If I can get to 441, I should be able to beat a Sararak and get a Zaka. Gar confirmed the next Xanathar. Oof. I don't have enough eyes. Should be Gar's not so brief guide to everything. Yes, my guides are long. Always have been. Always will be. I don't fully understand Cthulhu, so I have difficulty knowing which of his specs to take. Any quick tips? Xanthox. Cthulhu is a master of... I don't know where I was going to go with that. I was going to say like ennui, but yeah, that's way too deep. Cthulhu likes to be real far away from people in general, so you want to make sure no matter what that you're placing him away from your DPS. He can't be adjacent. His spec options are either the left spec he wants to be the furthest away from the person that he's going to put a real big buff on with his demon. Otherwise, you want the right spec is just he'll buff everybody that isn't adjacent. So most of the time you're going right spec, just because it's very hard to set up a formation specifically with all the different champs you're going to have and all their requirements. It's difficult to set one up that's going to be really good for him being all the way super distant. It can happen every now and then, but yeah, right spec and making him non-adjacent tends to work just fine. So when you start a new time gate event and have 0 favor, is there a best practice for getting favor gold find fast? Larsarid, yeah, I probably said that wrong. Apologies. A lot of people like to start with the Companions of the Hall formation if they have them. With Jarlaxle in, Jarlaxle's great for newer players because he boosts your gold find so much. Just having him in there, I tend to have him in, just to boost favor on my Gearless account when I first start an event. Do you use chest, potions, contracts? Yes. Primarily, like I said, silver chests and bounty contracts I save for when events start, and when I get to my wall I start burning through silver chests and try to push further, like get upgrades, push further, and then burn through bounty contracts, and then go all the way to my wall. And then that not only gets me a nice deep push on my first run, it also gets me lots of tokens to do more runs with. A lot of people will use the whatever best gold find team they have pushing through that first run, but the problem is the best gold find team is usually not your best pushing team, and it is still better to really get a solid push. So it really kind of depends. It's kind of both at some point. And then once you have a Zaka, just doing an Azaka run at the end can help, even if it's just a short one with no potions. You're still going to get a nice big boost to your favor. So lots of tips and tricks out there. Was that a caddy chest from your code? I just got epic in 1 and 4 for her and a gold. I don't know. Is it? Hold on. I do not think I used my code. We'll find out. Rocks, Nook, paid. Boom. Nope, gold chest. So that was from something else. And did I miss a question? Nope. Okay. How does crit work in this game? What produces a crit and what is its impact? Crit is really only a caddy breathing. So if you want to find out, you basically just go over here and read what she said. So critical hit, caddy breeze attack has a 30% chance to crit for 100% bonus damage. Now, if she gets to 100%, then that chance, like 100% chance, anything over 100% chance then is a chance to crit for bonus damage. It's not explained in here, but that is part of her mechanic, because you can get her items up super high and get that percent up nice and high. Now, she can transfer this crit off to other people through her ultimate, which we'll have to look at out here because it doesn't describe it right in that little bio. Caddy Breeze shoots 6 arrows at once from a bow. Each enemy hit by arrow can be crit by all champions using Caddy Breeze crit chance and damage bonus for 30 seconds. So this is how I like to spike my bud, basically. Is I will fire that off, and then hopefully we get a nice crit out of Zorbu, right? Like, that's the idea. But that's really the only crit mechanic that I remember. I think that's it. Scrolling through chat. I don't think I'm I'm not very far behind today. That's great. It's a first time for everything. Lots of stream name suggestions. Spec stuff. I mean, Alcoria is announced, but I wouldn't wait for it. Exactly, Megiddo. Alcoria was announced, fun fact, before Dragonbait was announced. And we got Dragonbait first. So, yeah, we've been waiting on Alcoria for a while. What's the best equipment you could give to Spurt? I mean, all of it. I don't really know how to judge that one. I mean, there is an argument for his slot 6 extending his death timer. But, I mean, in general, if I remember correctly, I have to switch back over to the other account here. Hold on. I don't have a geared Spurt on this one. So we've got Damage All, Centipede Net, Pack Tactics. Ooh, yeah, not that one. Ultimate attack damage is, I mean, he does some damage with his ultimate attack, and then this. So I would say 1, 2, 3, and 6. So his damage all are nice, his Centipede Net is nice, and then the ultimate attack increase on his cooldown is nice. Pack Tactics, it isn't as big a deal because there aren't that many kobolds in the game. So it could become a bigger deal later, it just isn't right now. For those of you who haven't been to this stream before, I am switching between 2 different accounts. This isn't multi-adventure mode. Right down under the stream, under Paulton and Briv, you'll see Gearless account, WebGL. So this is my WebGL account. The other is my Steam account. You can always check down there to see which one I'm on. Shall you use Hitch or Delana? Hitch. Kirby 1-up. Hitch is still a better DPS than Delana, in my opinion. Delana, it's nice to have AoE, but Delana needs to be in the back of a formation to really maximize her buffs. If you have some good people on your team with some buffs that point backwards, you can get her to some decent buffage, but in general, Hitch is a much better option early on. Early on. Later on, you'll have better options than both of them. Why first run of the event is so important? It's I like to the analogy I use is you're making a snowball, right? Like, the bigger you kind of pack that initial snowball before, like, you start to make a snowman and you start rolling it up. It's just the bigger you can get that first snowball, the easier it is to make your snowman. If you've ever made a snowman, if not, that analogy is not going to really sit well. But basically, having a strong first run allows you to go super deep without lots of extra stuff. Some of us can soft cap, which means get all the way up to the point where upgrading champions no longer matters on our first run, so it's not as important. Let me just max everybody out here. Not that I'm getting them up efficiently or anything, but I think we have more than enough power to kill this guy. All right. And then we will do an event variant, like I said I was going to do, because I like to do what I said I was going to do. We just may not finish it. So yeah, I like to have that first run. Just kind of, it also gives me a sense of how much progress have I made in my overall progression system, like between my champs and my power in general since the last event. It's a good benchmark. But yeah, getting and you can do, if you're a newer player, you're going to have 3 adventures to unlock. If we pop up here, I think I can kill him in the background. If we look at this, the first, that's not the right map. Come on, game. There we go. So like these first initial adventures that unlock the champions, I treat those on my new player account as if they're free plays. I run them as far as I can. I push, I farm a bit. Then I do the next one, I push, I farm a bit. And then I do the next one, I push, I farm it. And then I just pick whatever one I think is going to be... Well, if I was farming for gear, I would split my gear up between them all. But eventually pushing for favor early, I pick a free play that's going to have a decent formation where I can push deep and get a lot of favor. And just having those first solid runs really helps with that. Hey, I beat it in the background. All right. Woo. The other thing about doing a first run, like dumping silver chests and bounty contracts specifically on your first run, is they don't contribute as much for whatever reason. I mean, they're going to contribute a lot comparatively, but it isn't as impactful. Like, I don't get multiple upgrades out of that on later runs. I've found just over time, over 2 years of turning them in at the beginning of events, or or a couple of runs in, that it just doesn't do much if I don't do it on that first run. All right, so people have had some issues with things like Cradle Posse as a new player. I think I have too many champions to really explain that, but I really want to do is Caddy alone. She's pretty fantastic, and I love this, but I'll probably do that later. So let's talk Cradle's Posse. This is the question I've gotten from the most people all week, is how do you do this one if you don't have a lot of options for your champions? So let us get out. I'm going to throw down and upgrade click damage first, and we'll click a little bit, and then we'll put out some options that are starter champions, if it lets me. So this is only champions with a charisma score of 12 to 16 can be used. So we'll build a new player formation around that in a moment. Yep, just try things out and absorb info. Yeah, that's how I got here. And then watch what other people do and kind of make it your own, because this game is going to be unique to every player because of the way gear and things work. No one's going to have the exact same item levels and stuff. Just doesn't work that way. Can you explain how to make a formation just quickly? I'm bad at reading. I will. I'll explain my cradle formation here in a second. What's your favorite formation layout and why? Like, I will do from this event, because I can't remember every event and every formation ever. In this event, I have been running the Spurt free play on my Gearless account to push deep, and it did real well. I got enough favor. This is the second event in a row where I got enough favor to make all the difficulty ratings show as green, which is kind of a goal, right? To try to even be able to finish these missions. But ideally, you want as much favor as possible. What am I even at? I'm at 1.6 EO8. So probably a little low to go. Actually, I know it's a little low to run into this one, but ideally, that's what's going to make it show green difficulty. But ideally, you want like E10 or higher. How many chests do you have saved on your Ghost account, or you just not bother with collecting them? A lot. So many that it's now scrolled off the top of the screen. It doesn't. It's interesting. The UI doesn't scroll things off the bottom of the screen. It scrolls them off the top. So you see, silver crond is what's supposed to be there at the top, but there's even normal silver up there. So there's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah, I mean, it starts off with normal silver and normal gold, and it doesn't even show up when I hover over this. The game was not made for you to not open chests. It breaks real quick in the UI. Catching up, lots of conversations. As a newer player, I'm having trouble with Krydel's Posse variant. Hey! Wow, I timed that right. I only have 8 champs available for it, walled at about 147. Tanks available are Annihilate, Gromma, Tyrrell. Suggestions. Nefarious 14 is what I'm going to read that as. Annihilate, Gromma, and Tyrrell. So, let's take a look. Out of those 3... Oh, I can't move him in this. That's right. Let's see. Here's the Tyrrell. Or here's Nayeli. I mean, if you're going to use Nayeli, it's probably going to need to be Oath of Devotion so that she stays tanky. And you could use Barrel, like Tyrrell in his wild shape form. Those are both probably going to be a better option than Gromma as a tank. Because Gromma in the tank line is... She doesn't have a health item, so while she has solid base health, she doesn't get any multipliers on it like everybody else does. So yeah. Otherwise, lots of favor. Like, lots of favor. E12 to E15 favor. You should be able to over-level everyone to the point where you can stay alive and kill everything. But again, I'll build this out in a second. We'll see what happens. Should I use specking Jarlaxle into his gold find spec? I do that all the time, Sazure, even when I'm using as DPS, because gold equals power as long as you're not to your soft cap. So, yeah, I still kind of put him in Master of Piracy even when he's my DPS. Did I miss something? I saw somebody said I went right over it. Repeat it if there's a question that I missed. Gaarawarr, can you speak at great length about heavy metal, please? No, I can't. That's a Dylan thing, yeah. I think we're almost catching up, and then I will build this formation out. What is better? Should I get more increase on gold find or better damage and upgrade on my heroes? I mean, yes. I mean, you want both, right? Like you want gold find to get you gold, and then you use that gold to upgrade your heroes. And then you can, as you get to your wall, you just start swapping. Here's the main thing. Never build a formation and think you're going to be in that formation for the entire run. As you hit your wall, start making changes. See what happens. Even if you think that's the best formation you can get, try other stuff out, because you might be at a curve, like at a point in their power curve with plateaus and stuff, where a different champion works better for you than one that you have on the field that you thought was the best. Um, you won't know unless you try. Like the only time that's not really, well, no, that's still even relevant at soft cap. You never know what kind of combination you might come up on, what works. Try stuff out. For the 175 Caddy Brie alone challenge, which I love that variant, it's just about having gold, like having enough favor when you go in. So like I'm at EO8, I'll try it. I'll probably try it. It's nothing to me on this account if I fail it, but ultimately you're going to want as much gold as possible going in. So a lot of those 175s, like the third variants, waiting until this last weekend and doing it with weekend buffs tends to be the best. But even if you leave it till Sunday and just continue to farm favor until you're like E10, E12, E15, that's just going to let you coast right through it. That's why people like to push super hard on their favor early on and then breeze through all the variants afterwards. Rock77 finally got Azaka, but don't have most of the other champions of the hall. Azaka farming seems underwhelming without most of them. Almost no change to favor. That shouldn't be. So should the others in the team be a focus, or should I go for Zorbu for wall busting? You're going to have to post in the Discord or on Reddit with your formation that you're actually using, so people can actually troubleshoot what's going on. Because Azaka, even just Azaka and Jarlaxle and Brunor and Dritz, which are all available, who aren't locked behind events or time gates really. Even just that should be getting you a solid change to favor if you're doing it right. So yeah, that's going to be a long conversation to kind of troubleshoot and figure out what's going on. Only been playing a couple weeks, so gear is all kind of low. Yeah, gear can be low. I mean, this is a completely gearless account. You can get through stuff even with low gear. You just kind of have to fiddle with things sometimes. So let's see, who else do we have here? So these are so far who we're looking at. I can't. Yeah, this Brunor's not going to really be much for me here, because unless I'm not using Kreidel as DPS, which may have to. I think I want Kreidel as DPS. That's the problem. All right, well, for now, we'll continue to just click, 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 click. What path should you take on Zorbu? Dead Air 3. Depends on what you're doing with him on that run. If you're Zorbu farming, which means going out for kills for one of his hated enemy types, then you want the right spec. If you're actually trying to kill stuff with him, you want his left spec. The middle spec is generally perceived as pointless in all scenarios. Maybe someday somebody will figure out what it's for. We haven't figured that out yet. How do you quickly apply familiars like that? Hold down the F key. Hold F for familiars. Basically, highlights all the places you can place them, and if you click on the hand, it pulls them all off the field. So, boom, now I don't have any familiars, and now I can just click and get them out. Pulls them out kind of in the order that you have them. So, yeah. Gar, how much do you have in Zorbu Lifelong Enemies? Darth Junius, E5, somewhere in the E5s. Yeah. I got him up to E5 on a farm, and then I stopped paying attention because that's a lot. That was basically like one run for each of the types with like epic speed going on and just letting it run for a night or something. I can't remember. It was a lot. Margaret would lose her mind with those chests. Yes, Margaret. This is why Margaret doesn't come to this stream anymore. These numbers just make her go crazy. She wants all those even numbers. You guys, I'm pretty new, and I have plenty of questions about the game. Some sort of FAQ somewhere. There isn't a FAQ, no. But redundant questions are what everybody lives off of. So you can ask on the Reddit, or you can ask in Discord. Discord's usually better if you want answers real quick, and sometimes there's a discussion that needs to happen around things. So, yep. And I think it's just like, I think they can drop that link in chat, !champions_Discord. which should make it come up. Buffing Kreidel, move Natalie one back from the tank line, use barrelless tank in the closest spot, and Gromma in the topmost tank spot. No, that doesn't work because Gromma is in Niley's slot. Don't forget who's in whose slot. Which focus do you recommend on Krull? Took ashore in one of them. Oh, Krull. I read that as Kreidel for a second. Krull, so I go Pain if I have an AoE DPS. I go Traitor if I have a single or multi-target DPS, because that way Traitor creates an AoE, so I can wave clear if I'm trying to push deeper. And then I go Pilfer if I'm doing gold farming. So it varies. Most people would just say Pain and then don't worry about it, but yeah. Question, did you have any trouble completing the Kreidel achievement? I did. I have 2 out of 3. Primarily because I forget to put him in and try to do that early on. And because his gear on my main account is whites and greens, which we'll go fix here in a moment. But even then, my Delana and my Minsk have full epics with some shinies. Minsk might even have a golden epic. And they've all each got like 700 plus item levels. So I did it backwards, and I did Delana's DPS first, and then I did Minsk's, and then I went to do Kreidel's, and I was like, oh god, even at soft cap I can't get him over their DPS because he's in white and greens. So yeah, I'll fix it at some point. Alright, I think we're close to catching up. I'm going to pause the questions for a second and let us see. Okay, so I can't use any of those. So we are going, because I have Brunor, and I'm going to attempt to make Brunor work. I'm going Battle Master because I'm too far away to get Shield Master to trigger. Don't have to worry about a spec there. Here I'm going to go Oath of Devotion for tankiness. Jarlaxle, I am going to go Leader of Brigand Aerith for the Master of Piracy. So this is the gold find one. And then I will go... You know what? I'm going to use Jarlaxle DPS. So I'm going to go Elves and Dwarves. This is what I will do to attempt to beat this. We will see what happens. I'm not spending super efficiently, but I have click damage through level 50, and I'm only about halfway through that, so I know I'll get gold. Plenty of gold in a bit. What time is it? Oh, still got plenty of time. We'll open up all of my Kreidel chests here in a bit. I'd run a run where I upgraded Makos and my damage went down. Is that possible, or graphical glitch? Yeah, Ulcan, I don't know. I don't see why upgrading him would cause your overall damage to go down. Unless it was changing, like forcing something to reset. I don't know. You would have to, like, make that happen again and submit a ticket and let Sean look at it. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking Nile or Gromma in frontline alone, then Tiro with healing spec between there and Kreidel, but yeah, I didn't give it there. Yeah, I mean, that sounds somewhat okay. The problem with having a single tank is they're taking all the beating, whereas if you can have 2 tanks, then that beating is split up between them and they last longer. It's not something you see at high levels, but it's something you see at low levels to get through really painful variants. So keep that in mind. That's what I will be shooting for here. What makes Zaka good for farming? Oh, that's a whole long discussion, Durosclav. I just posted a tier list to gold farm champions that some people are not happy with, but I don't care. Not that I don't care that they're unhappy. It's just that I posted the list. It is what it is. People want to complain about who's on it. But it does talk about Azaka a bit. Azaka basically, she has an ability on her ultimate when she is in her Resist the Curse spec that makes it so when her were-tigers, or when her tigers jump out and attack things, those things drop gold, even if they don't die. So this creates a scenario where you can push really, really deep to your wall, manipulate a boss level so that only one regular enemy is left. So kill everything else but one regular enemy. And then switch out all of your damage champions for gold find champions. And thus just run your gold find through the roof and put a familiar on her ult, and she just farms tons and tons and tons of gold without having to kill anything. And there just isn't a scenario where you can earn that much gold, because usually if you have that many gold find champions in, you're walling way earlier because they just don't put out that kind of damage. They don't get you that far in a run. So that's what makes Exaka good for farming. That's why people say that, you know, how do I increase my favor? Well, you go get Exaka. That's how you increase your favor, because it literally, you know, anywhere from E2 to E8 favor gain on a good run, you know, depending on what you're doing and how far you pushed, and what you're manipulating, and, you know, how many gold find champions you have. Like, I do full potions and stuff. We've done that on this show before. If you go to the Codename Entertainment YouTube channel, all of my streams are on there. And if you go back to episode 2, titled Stacks on Stacks on Stacks, that is a reference to Exaka farming, along with Krull. Yeah, it walks through setting one up, and I talk about how I do it, and we show how much gold we get from it. I'm doing the Krull time gate now. Have enough shards for 3 more. Who should be the next pick for a low mid player? Previously I would have said Ayla and Gromma. Now I would say Avrin and Morgaine, because of the changes to ultimate debuffs. Who else would I be forgetting? Yeah, so Morgaine down here. You just got Catty Bree. Yeah, I would say the next two. I don't know about the third one. Third can be a variety of things. Maybe still Gromma. But at least 2 of those, Avrin and Morgaine. Avrin does crazy things. Oh, if you have Zorbu. Excuse me. And Zorbu, if you don't have Zorbu yet. You might as well pick him up now and start farming with him. He may not be super useful at EO7, but he will be... Wait, where am I at? Yeah, he may not be super useful at EO7, so I would leave him to last. So I would pick up Avrin next. That can go with, and he can go with any of your DPS. So Krull, then Avrin, then Morgaine. They're all supports that can go with any DPS. By that time, just because of Krull, you're probably going to be E10 to E15 favor. Then you can pick up Zorbu and start using him. So there you go. Gar, how important is it to have Avrin around champs that are in his favorite alignment? I always put him in good focus, but my formation usually requires me to put 2 to 3 neutral evil champs next to him, which reduces the frequency that there's a mirror next to him. He likes his mirrors. I mean, if you're really trying to maximize damage, you need the right people around him. So kind of a big deal. If you're fine with him only getting a couple mirrors, okay, but yeah, he really likes all of them, because also having everyone around him, or having at least 4 people around him or adjacent to him be good, means you're going to reduce the chance that RNG is going to give you really bad damage for a while, and that can hurt at higher levels. How much favor do you need on average to unlock Dragon Bait? I don't know anymore. Everything's changed. Like, things change with power, things change with the soft cap upgrades. The key just is, can you get to soft cap, so that point where there just are no more upgrades left for your character before you get to Valindra, like the final round on Valindra. As long as you can do that, you have enough gold. I can't tell you what that number is, because I can't go back and do it again. I did it on January 1st. I don't remember. So yeah. Let's see. Is there a spot above where Brunor can fit in the column behind Niali? Uh, yeah, but that doesn't do anything for me either. I mean, that would... Oh, I guess I can... Because I'm using Niali, I should probably be up here, huh? I prefer having my DPS all the way in the back, but it's Niali. I'm used to having Briv, so I got to get out of the mind of having Briv up here. Okay, and then we've got Tyrell now. So Tyrell will go right there. Hey, look, it's a backwards Jarlaxle. As a new player farming the Mad Wizard free play to get the favor gem, should I use my time gate pieces to get Crawl and push further, or Melf and get more runs in less time? When you're gem farming, you want speed champions. Crawl is not a speed champion. Melf is a speed champion. Shandy is a speed champion. So picking up Shandy and Melf will help you better than picking up Crawl for gem farming. Because gem farming, you just want to run to the point where you can't kill things instantly with click damage anymore and then reset. So Crawl is pointless in a gem farming formation. Crawl is really just about favor. So yeah. So it depends on what you want. Are you trying to farm gems, or are you trying to farm favor? Pick one, and then pick the champion that's going to do that best. Speed champions for gems, Crawl for favor. Oh, I'm sniffling. That's what happens when I go outside for literally 5 minutes today. It was 80 degrees and sunny. I couldn't not. For revamped Hitch, is additional knives still worthless with the ricochet? No, it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic. I will happily bow down to somebody who can mathematically prove me wrong. But I love more daggers now. I always went charismatic before. Now I always go more daggers. Because charismatic is just a flat buff. It's just flat. It's just there. With ricochet and multiple daggers, you have a chance for it to get real high. I mean, it can get real low too, but it's also great for wave clear. And I use a lot of DPS Hitch on my Gearless account. It's fantastic for wave clear because that dagger bounces around and does some damage. It's also great for hit-based things, so like barriers and hit-based bosses. Which of the free plays in the event is best for getting to 275? I like spurts. I prefer spurts formation for going real far in this event. It requires certain champions, but I think it's still, even on my Gearless account, I ran with spurts. So. Oh, and the last thing for the Cradle variant, just because he has to be in there, if you can buff another champ better, then do that. Yeah, obviously. Yep, you can always use him as support, and honestly, you kind of have to, because they put him here, and you can't move him. So, if you're stuck with Niali as your tank, and she only buffs the column behind her, Cradle will not be your DPS. If you have any other tanks, and those buffs will go back to Cradle, you can make Cradle your DPS, but at the end of the day, use the DPS that's going to work best for you. Do you have a short list for time gates? Not really. I mean, in general, like I said, like people prioritize Crawl first, always, because he's the most overpowered champion in the game. And then, like I said, if you're trying to support, you can build your support through Averin and Morgaine pretty solidly now. And then when you're, like where you're at, E15 to E18 favors, Zorbu becomes like a go-to DPS champ. Actually, yeah, E18. So I'm E18 in Tomb of Annihilation. I was E15 a little early this week, and Zorbu was hands down my best DPS, even without gear. So, Gaarawarr, how are you coming to see any about draining the Gromma swamp? Why do I immediately say no? Yeah, Gromma's swamp spec is just not great. It didn't get any love in the revamp, so it is what it is. Quick show off because I'm happy today I managed to break my previous level record around 450 and smash through 500 all the way to 605 after finally unlocking Averin in the last free time gate. Wow, Lemon Wars, that's a lot. That's a lot just for Averin. I feel like there's more going on there, but like maybe you hit some other milestones in the game for progression that you didn't realize along the way. But good job. About time gates, is there any point to continue the time gate after you completed the 3 maps that give chests? Bivrip, if you want the favor multiplier that comes from going further, then go further. If you can go, in increments of 100 levels, if you can go a lot further, you'll get, so in a time gate specifically, not events, time gates, every unique 100 levels you push, you get a silver chest for that champion. So you can get those 3 gold chests, great, but getting those silver chests also gives you item levels, which helps you out as well. So if you can push to, say, 305 easily, then do that, because at least push to 300 and complete it, because then you'll get 3 chests. If you can only push to like 180, then get your 3 chests and get out, because trying to get to 200 is a waste of time. That's kind of how you have to figure it out. Catching up. Gars, I hate tier list guide to tier list. Yes, those are what my tier lists are. Yep. It says it clearly at the top. All right, let us do some leveling up a bit here. He is going to be support. I'm going to have to go look at his stuff again real quick. He's brand new, so I got to learn him. Increase the damage of all champions in the back 2 columns. So this is doing absolutely nothing here. Yeah, they put him in a place in the formation where From the Shadows just doesn't work on him. And for new players, you're not usually putting your DPS in the back rows. This is kind of like a, hey, I want to help Dylan out thing, but yeah. Charismatic leader. So this we go. Lead with flair. Each champion in the formation with charisma of 12 to 16. And isn't that all we get? Yeah. So they want you to choose what buffs his lead with flair and make him your DPS, but yeah, so you kind of have to because only those champions are viable, you have to pick Close-Up Magic, because this wouldn't do anything. The last part of my stream. We are in the last part of my stream. Oh no. So we're not going to be able to finish this off completely. And let me do this a little more efficiently. There we go. 500 is Bruno's breakpoint. I get a thing at 100 there. Yeah, so this looks like kind of what I would do here if I were a new player. I'm going to continue this run. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll try to post a picture later. I may have to, we'll see if how far I can get with this, but I don't have a lot of favor, which is why I'm not even able to get up here into my upgrades very well. I only have 1 EO8, so this may have been doomed from the start, despite showing as green. That is something to keep in mind. Just because it shows as green doesn't mean it's doable. You've got to take a look at what champions you're going to get. All right. Seeing you missed an opportunity to name a variant Cats in the Cridle. Yeah, that's good, but I mean, we only have. Do we only have 1 Tabaxi? I'm trying to think. We have Birdsong. Do we have any other Tabaxis? I'm losing it. I don't remember. We've got like 61 champions in the game now. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. Formation for Azaka, Jarlaxle, and companions. I mean, you're going to have to get that kind of stuff off Discord or the subreddit. Do you think extra dagger feat for Hitch is also worth getting too, if you're using him in dagger spec, of course? I haven't tested that fully yet. Whoa, pick your favorite name for Gaarawarr stream take 2. We're voting again? I guess we're voting again, folks. If it didn't work earlier, try it again. So I haven't really delved too deep on my main account. I do have his extra dagger feat. I haven't run the numbers, like to see if I do better with adding a third dagger or adding that extra dagger, or if I just add a straight up damage boost. But I want to test that out. I haven't done it yet. I did get the feats just specifically to test that out, and I haven't had time. It's something that I will probably mess around with when I get to the support and or DPS tier lists. Is it true that some people turn off scientific notation? Apparently, and I don't understand why, Gutless Wonder. Yeah, to each their own. Oh, hey, I just got to the part where people asked if they wanted to run the vote again. So that's why we have the vote again. So that's where I am in the chat. All right. Is there any table where to see how much favor is needed to click damage in area? Click damage per level equal to... there might be. I don't know. You'd have to ask in Discord. Do I have Caddy available here? Oh, I do. Hey, I can bring Caddy Bree in. I forgot. I was trying to do just the core characters, but I can also use... Could use... Well, I can't use Spurt. He doesn't qualify. All right. So form this event. This would actually help too, because Caddy Bree is in the back. So here we can look at follow-up for the question earlier. When Caddy Bree crits, her next 4 base damage attacks hit for 100% more. So basically, if you're running DPS, you could do this. It's a double damage bonus. And that can be nice if you don't have high gear. But if you have high gear and you're critting all the time, then you just go in the zone, because she's always going to have her attack cooldown reduced, so she's attacking more often, and thus she's going to be marking more people marked for death. So that's why I like to go the right spec. New player here. If you finished everything in the running, should a player just run free plays to 50 for character-specific gear until they run out of tokens, farm for favor, or just move on to other missions? Run all your tokens out, Marcus. Run to 51 specifically. You want to complete 50. So get to 51 and then reset and grab your free chest. You could do that all the way through Monday at noon Pacific. And then, yeah. You don't necessarily have to do the deep runs for favor unless you're getting a lot of favor, because that favor will convert back into your main campaign of your choice after the event. You'll get to choose that. But yeah, definitely always use up your tokens to get as many pieces of gear as possible for the champion or champions of your choice. If you had to plug a champion that most people seem to forget about, who would it be? Seberic. I don't know, I forget. I guess, let me go over to this screen, because we're going to have to open up these chests here shortly. Let me look. People forget. People originally slept on Sasaspia pretty hard. Didn't think she was very good, but I think situationally she can be fantastic. I know that's situationally, but you get into a lot of those situations in this game. I find myself in situations all the time where she's great. Quilek's pretty solid, or Keelek. I believe we're coming up the next event. It's the Great Modron March. If I'm getting my events right, it should be Evelyn and Keelek. Someone can tell me I'm wrong. So I wouldn't worry about that. Shandy's great even if you have Krull. A lot of times people are like, oh, I've got Krull, I don't need Shandy. No, you want Shandy. Shandy speeds up your runs so fantastically to get you to the point where you can then use Krull. Farita's great, but unfortunately she does not put out the damage you need right now, even with the addition of Havilar. So we're still kind of waiting on either a change to how she works, or more tieflings added, or her adopted father, if her adopted father, Mayan, gets added to the game and buffs her directly. That'd be nice. Morgaine was slept on for a long time because of Ayla and how Ayla's debuffs worked. Ayla was just a really good choice. Morgaine is now the better choice, in my opinion. Yeah, I would say overall those are probably the ones I think sometimes people stop thinking about. And what are we having a problem with here? Oh, I did not level everybody up, so okay, so here's the thing with Cthulhu. This just gets his Shadow Demon out more often. This makes Unseen Encouragement do all adjacent. Now, the thing about this, I don't have to do Velvet Touch because Unseen Encouragement will automatically go to anybody 2 away, because 2 away is the furthest away you can get from Cthulhu, excuse me. Cristraub. Same thing. So I can go with his efficient bookkeeping and get that out quicker. And that's more helpful here in this specific scenario. Oh, look, I can soft cap, like we were talking about. This means no more upgrades. Circle with a line through it. There's more daggers. We'll go more daggers on this, and we'll actually bounce them around and see what happens. Let's try to get everybody else up here. We have Grommet in the front. I'm going Circle of Mountain because she's my tank. And I want that stacking debuff when things hit her. I go Additional Secrets because I want all the damages. His other spec buffs his gold, but I can soft cap, so I don't care. Here I go Empowered Blessing because this buffs... it makes the contributions to Bless more for everyone that's 2 away. And here we've got at least 3 people that are 2 away, so that's going to be helpful. And we have him adjacent to the DPS, so he's perfect. Perfect where he is. He's a perfect happy little boy. Normally I would want like Catty Bree in here somewhere, but... We're going Moonbeam, because Tyrell is not our tank. I probably don't have the right feats for this, but that's okay. Okay, and now for Regis, we are going behind, because he is in front of Hitch, and we're going ranged, because I don't care about his stab, I care about his thrown daggers. That also lets me swap him out for, say, Catty Bree or Zorbu later if I want to. Alright. Where are we in chat? I think I already fixed some of these questions. What are your opinions about Strahd variant when we have to reach 475 with just default champs and armor bosses? So much I haven't tried it yet. It's not going to be fun. I mean, they left some of these in that are just arguably unfinishable unless you have outrageous amounts of favor and you just click damage through a lot of it, but that doesn't necessarily help with armored bosses. So, you know, maybe we're going to see more feats in the future that'll make them doable. I'd rather they left them and let us just be frustrated because we can't finish it than decide we will never finish it and then remove it from the list. That would be my overall thought. Because at some point in the future, it may be doable. It just isn't right now. Is there a good rule of thumb when you should stop upgrading click damage and switch to upgrading heroes? Namarusts? Yes. When your click damage level, as you see down here, mine says 283. When the level you are on is higher than what you can easily get your click damage to. Like I could get mine to 287, but I'm 4 higher than that. So at that point, the damage I am doing out here to things when they come on screen, I may still be killing them, but it's now time for me to start switching over to focusing all my gold on champions and no longer putting things into click damage. So early on, you may get to like 30, like level 30 or something. Hold on, taking another screenshot. Let's see what that secondary poll looks like. Since it just ended. There we go. Boom. Still again. GG2E coming in at the top. didn't pop up because I'm on the wrong screen, but that's fine. All right. So yeah, like when you're starting off, usually you'll get to like, I don't know, level 23 or 24, and your click damage will run out. And then you just got to stop doing it. Later on, you'll get like me. I can get up into the high 200s, almost to 300. That's really just a function of how much favor you have, and it speeds up your runs based on in that adventure because of the amount of favor you have. So it's always good to have lots of favor. You can rush through those early levels with the click damage, but you just have to know when to switch off and start spending your money a little more wisely. What is Ashara's buff in this formation? Pitterpeel on that other one, or Pitterpeat, I went Elves and Dwarves because I was focusing that specifically on Jarlaxle as DPS. I used my tokens for chests because I didn't know you could get a chest for 50 plus run and free play. Oh, you bought the 10k chest, Ulkin. Yeah. I think most people did that early on because they didn't understand. But yeah, always run free plays, because the max cost for a free play is 2,500 tokens, and you're guaranteed a gold chest at least on your 4th run. So for 10,000 tokens, you're guaranteed at least 1 gold chest and have a chance to get up to 4. So always try to do your runs. The 10k option is there for if it's Monday morning and you weren't around over the weekend and you've got tons of tokens and you just want to get some gear, then you go spend them in the store. Otherwise, don't do that. Is Krull the go-to champion to get from a time gate, and why? Aim to please. Yes. And why? Because he's broken. He's a support champion that debuffs things outrageous amounts and lets you push super far. And he also ups your gold find outrageous amounts. He is in the S tier for gold find champions. Literally, without factoring in gold bonuses, if you were to end up with 40 stacks on an enemy without gear, Krull would give you around a 2.5 million % gold find bonus off that enemy. The closest other champion to that would, and that's just by himself. That's the bonus he gives by himself. The closest other champion to that is an 80,000% gold find bonus, and that's Makos if he's got a full evil warlock group with him. It's just, there's no competition. Krull is outrageously broken, so use him while you can, because everybody else is. All right, let's open some chests. We're almost done here. All right, I'm going to open these Cradle chests. Let's see. So just for the record, where are we at? Oh, he's this guy. I clicked blonde, and then, they're close. So hopefully, I don't like my goal here is to not end up with any gaps. So hopefully we will not end up with any gaps. So we're hoping for these 2 greens. I need a green belt and a green cloak. Everything else blue. Obviously, we want epics, but I don't necessarily want those right away, oddly enough. All right, so there's a blue belt and a green belt, so that's fine. So we got the blue, and I was a little worried, but the green fills in that hole, so we're fine. Let me just double check. We'll go back and forth here a little bit. Yes. So that's exactly the kind of result I want, mainly because I have obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. But no, it's obsessive collection disorder here, and I don't want any holes in my champion's collection, like I have here with Deacon. That just kills me. Collections, if you play on a platform where collections don't exist, you are the favored ones, because they drive the rest of us crazy. All right, so let's see what else we can get. Bada bing, bada boom. We got another belt. Oh, and we got the cloak. So now I just want blues. I want blues and purples. Well, I could take a purple belt, but I want all the other blues. Shadows are this cloak's best friend. That's nice. All right. Let's see what else we get. There's the blues smoke powder spheres. That's fine. And of course, bounty contracts I will take. Ooh, hey. That's nice. They throw this out to tease you, but then they give you the purple dagger. Now I'm missing the blue one, so I need to keep an eye out for the blue one. There's the blue ring, so that's fantastic. Oh, wow, another epic real quick. A harbor badge. And that's charismatic leader, so that's nice. I don't think I got the blue there, though. Hold on, let me go look. I think I've got a couple holes in my stash now. That's not great. Yeah, so I'm missing the blue dagger and a blue badge, but that's fine. These can actually fill in fairly easily with patron chests. At some point, there's going to be a chance. I wouldn't say fairly easily, but there is a chance that patron chests can fill these in. I would have rather they had been blue because I'd rather be getting epics from patron chests on pity timers, but, you know, I've still got 10 to go. So we'll get at least one more epic here. Hopefully one of these gives me either the blue badge or the blue dagger. That's what we want to see. That's where my excitement will land. There we go. So we have the throne blade, so there's one of them. Oh, and we got the badge. So we just fill in both of my gaps with one chest? We did! Yay! Alright. So, now I don't care about anything. Now it's just like, whatever. Let's just open up all of these. Because I just want whatever epics it gives me. I ended up with 2 more epics. That's super luck, folks. Usually, unless you're spending cash, you're ending up with like 2, maybe 3 epics. And I got 4, so I'm super happy with this. Even though this is the ultimate attack, I don't care. All I'm looking for on my champions is I want to get them to full epic. If you missed it, before this event, I made it to full epic on all champions. Not core evergreen, all champions. So Cradle is the only champion I have now who is not full epics, and I'm 4 out of 6. So I'm happy with that result. So I can start opening... let's go just take a look real quick. I can start opening patron chests for him to fill in these last 2. So that means I just need, at most, 20 patron chests. That's not horrible. And I can spread them out amongst different patrons. So right now I'll pop this Vajra chest that I got for free somewhere. That wasn't even a pity timer, folks. Sean, did you push the button for me again? I appreciate it. But you don't have to do that. It's giving me epics instead of shinies. So now I'm up to 5. That's super lucky. Alright. Let's see. Are we gonna get a 1 out of 1 here too? I hope not. That would just be rude. Okay, that's a little better. Alright, so I need 9 more either Mert or Vajra chests to get full epic on Cradle. Not bad. Not bad. I'll take it. All right. We have about 7 minutes left, so I will try to do speed runs through all the questions. I'm not that far behind. Actually, it looks like maybe 30% of the chat behind. After you get all the blessings and campaigns, should the next step be patrons? Absolutely, Flubbergem. Absolutely. And actually, you could probably start in patrons before you have all the blessings, but it just depends. Just depends. I often see questions about how to start patron variants or what champions to use for them, but when should I actually start doing them? Limit Wars, when you have the time to do them. Patrons and their variants are a time sink. I would get as much damage as you can, like I was just saying to Flubbergem, out of the main campaigns first. Push through, make sure you have Azaka. Having lots of patron wants you to have lots of options on champions, so getting all the evergreens. So Dritz, Azaka, Dragonbait, Hitch, make sure you have them all. Flesh out, some of your event champions if you can from time gates. Once you can start running, to the requirements that they have, because they make you go further than a regular variant would. So you're going to need to go 300 to 400 levels with restricted champions. Once you know you can do that, then you can start doing them regularly. Early on, you just want to do it a little bit just to unlock them so that you can get access to your time gate pieces. Each patron will sell you a time gate piece a week. that's worth it until you flesh out all of your champions. That should help you push further too. Hey, Lauren, welcome. It's okay if you're late. You did miss the vote, but that's okay. We had lots of people chiming in. It looks like it's fairly close between either Gaarawarr's Zone of Truth or Gaarawarr's Guide to Everything in Idle Champions. Both of which, for those who don't know, are names suggested by Lauren. All right, catching up. Scrolling through chat, looking for more questions. It's not that easy to get 40 stacks, though, especially if you don't have the feat to improve it. Oh, yeah, absolutely, Trontoni. I'm just saying. 40 stacks is crazy. You can do it. Even 30 stacks is far and away above anything else, and that can happen occasionally just from regular play, even without the feats, but it's pretty wild. I'm looking at Turiel's moves on the wiki. I might understand that they are meant to be in the front row alongside a tank. Yes, Ragnats. Turiel is a support champion that removes a tank slot for you. Basically, you can't use them in a one-off like this, but when you have those 2 or 3 tank front lines, you put Turiel up there, and he basically goes, nope, not at me, nope, step aside, and pushes those people onto your tanks. He never actually takes damage until your tanks die, and he buffs you based off how many times he pushed people aside. He's great for Avernus because he actually gives you bonus against fiends, which you're dealing with down there anyway. So you can take that 3 tank front line of Descent into Avernus and make it a 2 tank front line with Turiel. We should only open gold chests when we have all green equipment on a champion, right? On the core and evergreen champions, that's what I recommend. For event champions, just open your chest right away. You're not going to get enough, usually. Not going to get enough as a newer player. Silver chests to rate waiting. I mean, you saw I waited and I still had some green spots left. But, you know, if you're going to use them right away, then open it right away. For the core champions, for the core and evergreens, I do recommend, like, if you're going to buy chests, buy silver chests until you have all green, and then start switching over to gold chests. You can open the gold chests that you get just normally before then. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't recommend buying gold chests until you're all green. Oh, 2 minutes. Can we get to the end? We can. So is Cradle any good? I don't know yet, Ratchet. He's not as great as the other 2 champions in the event that I can tell. But it should be okay in like a full Heroes of Baldur's Gate formation. Will you do Time Gate to try to get him full epic? No, I will just do patron chests. I see. I got to the point where everybody saw me get all of those epics. Yeah, I don't understand. It just happens over time, folks. People call it streamer's luck, but Mars and I have been opening chests for 2.5 years. So at some point, we're going to get lucky. How far along are you and your patrons? I am at 100% with Mert in terms of the variants completed, 100% Evajra, and only 45% Dom Strahd. We do a lot of the Strahd stuff usually. Well, I mean, we're doing one now, but we usually focus on it on the Tuesday streams. And then I've been doing like the low-level stuff in between. Yes, Lauren, you did throw a lot of names at me in DMs. I whittled it down a bit, so. All right, I am caught up. How long to get a beard like yours? Bivrip, that depends on your genetics. I can't really determine that. Mine is like 1.5 years, but that's for me. Everyone grows them at different speeds, and everyone grows different lengths, and not everybody can grow long beards. Some stay short. And that's probably a good point to wrap this up. So, thank you all for coming this week. Thank you for voting. I will pass the winner on to... I'll post the winner on Twitter, so Twitter is @Gaarawarr. Also, throw me a follow over at Twitch TV/Gaarawarr. Make sure this weekend, if you have some free time, or today or this weekend, go color in, because I forgot to mention this at the beginning, go color baby spurt sheets, post them online with #idlecoloring, because we get free chests out of that, and everybody likes free stuff. So go do that. And then we'll be back next week. I will be back on Tuesday on my channel. Mars will be back on Wednesday, normal streams. for our stuff, 1 p.m. CNE time. That's Pacific Daylight Time. After this stream, it is tradition that we head over, for those of you who want to join us, over to Twitch TV/Table Titans, where our pals Binwin and Crowy, that's right, the Binwin right here, the one that's petrified, and his pal Crowy, who is a familiar in our game, they're playing through Eye of the Beholder 2. They have me in their party, unfortunately as an elf wizard, but what can you do? I've got them back for that multiple times by casting Ice Storm on my own party, so it's okay. So come hang out with us there, and I will see you all next week. Bye!